Hey guys, welcome to today's class. Have fun.
Good afternoon, students. You're welcome to another English class with Miss Brown. I hope you're all doing well and I hope you're ready today with your pen and your papers. Today, we are going to be putting to practice what we learned in the last class. You must remember from the last class we studied how to answer comprehension questions effectively. So today, using the slides that you're going to see, we're going to put those skills that we learned to practice. Do you remember what they were? We talked about scanning, we talked about skimming, we talked about identifying the topic sentences, and we also talked about answering questions in general, answering questions effectively and how to look for hidden answers. So today we're going to practice that and we're going to go a little further than that. I have put together a mock examination for you. We're going to use that as a basis for our study today. Our study is going to involve revising and answering questions and explaining why certain answers were given so that you understand. So without wasting any more time, let's begin. Remember that the first thing you have to do is read your instruction carefully. Some of you already feel very comfortable answering the question, so you do not feel a desire, you do not feel that it is important to read the instructions, but it is always good to read the instructions, even though you feel that you are already conversant with it. So the instruction says to read and answer all the questions in this session. In this section, each question is followed by four options, letters A to B. Choose the correct answer that best fits the question. Now you know the comprehension passage that comes first, so let's scan. I can already see from the paragraph one that the story is about that it is about Mary who is traveling. I can see that there's a driver. I know that Mary is the main character. I can see where she's going. It is called Umezi, and now I'm going to skim. I'm going to try to pick out the main points. If I could highlight, I would definitely do so, but for those of you who have a pen and a paper, you can quickly note which part of the paragraph has the answer you're looking for, or which part of the paragraph has the main point. So now that we have looked at the passage, just gotten a feel of it, it's time to read. I'm going to read and you can follow along. By the next morning, which was Sunday, Mary left the campus for Umezi. First, she took a cab back to Enugu, from which she boarded a bus for Umezi. She chose a seat beside the driver so that she could have a side view of the places they would pass through. The driver was tall and thin, but looked kind. Next to Mary sat a young girl of about 15. As the bus sped along the road to Umezi, Mary became tormented by doubts about her mission, but she soon realized that it was too late to reconsider or to go back on it. They were now passing through towns whose names she had never heard at home or in school. After they had traveled for about an hour and a half in a direction southeast of Enugu, the driver turned to Mary and asked, "Which part of Umezi?" "Anywhere," she said at last. The driver was surprised at the vague answer. He went on to tell her that he went on to tell her that if he dropped her at the wrong stop, she'd have to get another bus to her actual destination. Mary thought for a while before she told the driver to drop her at the church to the right of the famous Justice for All police station when they arrived at Umezi. The driver turned to her in surprise and told her that there was no such police station on the road. He also told her that they had entered Umezi 10 minutes ago and she wondered how she couldn't have known that. Mary had not known embarrassment in a long time, and as he stared at her through the eyes of the confused cab driver, she could not but say the truth. "I have not been here since I was 9 years old, so I'm not even sure where I'm going. I came here to find my family and learn about them." The taxi driver was a compassionate man. He told her that it was nothing to be embarrassed about and promised to help her find her destination. All she had to do was tell him about her family. So after reading, you can take a few minutes more to read again, assuming you missed any detail or you are not completely comfortable with the passage. So you can always read twice. It's even advisable to read twice because most times you could miss a vital information that will lead to answering the questions incorrectly. So read twice and read fast. And let's move on to the question. What was Mary's mission? Obviously, this question is from paragraph 1, so we're going to return to paragraph 1 and see if we can find the answer. What was Mary's mission? Take another look at paragraph 1. The answer resides somewhere among those lines. Now come to the options. A. To enjoy a road trip. B. To converse with the driver. C. To find and learn about her family. To contribute to the development of her family. To celebrate with her family. Remember the conversation she had with the driver? She wanted to learn and to find and learn about her family. So the first answer is C. To find and learn about her family. Why did she sit beside the driver? This is where you really need to make sure that you were paying attention when you read so that you don't forget any detail. Why did she sit beside the driver? I'm not going to return to the paragraph to find the answer. I want you to think about it. Is it because she wanted to converse with the driver? Is it because she wanted to see the road clearly? Because she liked the girl beside her? Remember the 15-year-old girl who sat down beside her? Was it because she didn't want to be confused or because she liked the front seat? Which is the answer? The answer is B. Mary sat beside the driver because she wanted to see the road clearly. Let's go to number 3. Why do you think Mary did not reveal her ignorance of her destination until the very end? A. She was embarrassed. B. She wouldn't get answers. C. It was a no-talking journey. How many of you have been on a no-talking journey? I bet it was very boring. D. She knew where she was going. And E. She wanted to surprise the other passengers. Obviously, E isn't the answer because who goes on a trip to surprise other passengers? You don't even know them. Who goes on a no-talking journey? Definitely not an adult. Mary did not reveal her ignorance of her destination until the very end because she was embarrassed. Remember in the paragraph, the word embarrassed was used in one of those paragraphs. So Mary was definitely embarrassed. She didn't want the driver to know that she was unaware of her surroundings and unsure. Now let's move on to question 4. Describe the driver's attitude. A. Loathing. B. Happy. C. Compassionate. D. Loving. Which is the answer? We know that sometimes we come across words that we do not really understand from maybe not reading enough or just not knowing the word. And for some students, a word like loathing may be a little difficult to understand. If you don't know what the word means, doesn't mean that that is the answer. Most answers are simple, straightforward, and definitely in your face. So I'm going to assume we don't know what the word loathing is, and I'm going to encourage you to go to your dictionary to find what it means because it's a word that is used in most English exams. But away from option A, which we now know isn't the answer. What do you think the answer is? Was the driver happy? The passage did not say that the driver was happy and joyful. Was he loving? I wouldn't say that he and Mary had a relationship in which they could be loving towards each other. So the answer is obviously C. The driver was compassionate. Remember how he was kind to her and asked her where she was going and promised to help her find her family? That was being compassionate. So the answer is obviously C. Let's move on to number 5. Mary had not known embarrassment. What literary device is contained in the expression? First, you have to know what the term literary device refers to. Literary devices are the tools used by writers or speakers of any language to make their writing more interesting and less bland. What I mean by bland is not fun to listen to. So by saying Mary had not known embarrassment, the driver was trying to tell us that Mary had never been embarrassed up to that point. Before you answer this question, you have to go back to the paragraph that has that expression so that you can get the full context of it. So we're going back to the passage to look for it, and we found it in the last paragraph. Mary had not known embarrassment in a long time, and as it stared at her through the eyes of a confused cab driver, she could not but say the truth. This simply means that Mary hadn't been embarrassed in a very long time. So what literary device is contained in this expression? There's so many literary devices in English. You have simile, you have metaphor, you have oxymoron, you have paradox, you have metonymy, synecdoche. There's so many of them. So which is the answer? Is it A, euphemism? Is it B, personification? Is it C, oxymoron? Is it metaphor or simile? We know by now that metaphor and simile are figures of speech that compare, either using as or like or by direct comparison. So the expression is not comparing Mary or her embarrassment to anything. So we know that option D and E are not the answers. Oxymoron refers to the use of contrasting words or ideas in a written text. So there's no contrast here. There's no contrast here. Personification refers to giving life to inanimate objects in writing or speaking. For example, the symbols are dancing. That doesn't mean that symbols are just up on their feet. They have no feet, by the way, dancing to some music. No, it simply means that they were in use. Personification is very, very widely used in English. We hear expressions like the sun is smiling upon me. That just means that the sun is really high. And then that leaves us with euphemism. Euphemism. This is the presentation of vulgar or offensive expressions in a less vulgar or less offensive manner. So the writer did not just want to say that Mary was thoroughly embarrassed or Mary was reddened with embarrassment. He wanted to take it easy on her. So he decided to say Mary had not known embarrassment. The degrees and the degree of embarrassment described by the driver has been, reduced by his choice of language. So he didn't just want to make it seem like our Mary was having such a terrible time of being embarrassed. He wanted to make it a little more manageable. Other examples of euphemisms include things and expressions like he kicked the bucket. That means he died. I'm going to use the convenience instead of saying that you're going to the toilet. Things like that. Euphemism. So we are always encouraged to use euphemism when we're speaking so that we don't sound offensive or vulgar. Many advertisements that you watch on TV use euphemism. They try to make their products or their services seem better than they are. So euphemism is a very powerful tool for advertisement and a very powerful tool for speaking, communication, etc. So the answer is euphemism. 6. Which word can replace compassionate in the last paragraph? Before you choose your answer, make sure you return to the last paragraph to see where the word compassionate was used. So you do not choose an answer that sounds like a synonym for compassionate without being sure that it fits the expression. I can see the third to last paragraph says the taxi driver was a compassionate man. Now that we've seen how the word compassionate was used in the paragraph, we can now go back to answer the question. Okay, that was number 6. Which word can replace compassionate in the last paragraph? A, kind. B, loving. C, helpful. D, God-fearing. E, generous. Generous. We already know that generous is noted. We know that God-fearing is noted. So the answer resides between A, B, or C. That is kind, loving, helpful. We don't think loving is the answer, so we strike that out. Remember I told you that they didn't have that kind of relationship, and then we have A or C. Remember that the man felt compassionate 4, he offered to be helpful. So a synonym for compassionate in this context is kind. He was kind and then he was helpful. So his feelings of kindness or his being kind definitely comes before his being helpful. So we're going to go with option A, kind. Number 7, when the driver realized Mary's ignorance about her destination. First of all, what does the word ignorance mean? I'm sure you know what it means. For those of you struggling with words, it would be nice to have a dictionary by your side or a pen and a paper so you can put down these words that are difficult for you to understand. When did the driver realize Mary's ignorance about her destination? It simply means when the driver realized that Mary did not know where she was going. Was it when she got on the bus, when she told him her destination, when she bought the ticket for the trip, when he saw her faulty map, when she seemed uncertain? We definitely know that the answer resides between B and E. So which is the answer? What do you think it is? When she told him her destination or when she seemed uncertain? She told him her destination and she seemed uncertain. But the driver couldn't see the uncertainty on her face. He could only tell that she didn't know where she was going because of what she said to him. So the answer is obviously B, when she told him her destination. Remember, she told him a place that wasn't in existence. So that's how he knew that Mary was not aware of where she was going. 8. Suggest a title for this excerpt. Is it A, Uncertain Journey, B, The Journey Home, C, A Lost Girl, D, The Kind Driver, E, The Sordid Journey? Which is it? Sordid means terrible, horrible. I'm using synonyms now. The journey wasn't very smooth for Mary, but we wouldn't say that the journey was completely bad. So E has been taken off. The Kind Driver. Remember that the main character in the passage was Mary, so the title should have something to do with Mary or nothing at all. It shouldn't have anything to do with the driver because the driver was a secondary character, so we strike D out. A Lost Girl. C. Mary didn't know where she was going, but we couldn't say that she was lost. Besides, we don't know if she was a young girl or a woman. Remember they talked about a 15-year-old girl who sat beside her. It's possible that Mary was definitely older, so that cannot be the answer. Mary was not lost at the end of the day. The driver tried to help her. Is it A, Uncertain Journey? That's option A. The title in option A could have been perfect, but it is missing an article. An article is a grammatical word that is used to support nouns like the, a, or an. Where had it been the option for A said an uncertain journey, it would have been grammatically correct and we could have chosen that, but it didn't. So option B says the journey home. If we want to make option B look like option A, we would just remove the article THE and leave journey home, which would be grammatically incorrect. So between A and B, the answer that seems the most correct is B, because it is well titled, well written, in proper and standard English. So you have successfully answered question 1 to 8. It is not so difficult. You just have to think about all the angles. All the angles you have to think about. So, I hope you enjoyed the first part of the examination. And for those of you who answer the questions on your own, I want you to evaluate yourself. I'm going to introduce you to the next part of the exam called registers. This part is always a little tricky. So we're just going to talk about it and you can try the questions on your own. I hope you do well. So the part 2 says registers. The instruction says choose the word that best completes the gaps numbered 9 to 18 below from the alternatives lettered A to E. You already know what to do. In this part, you're asked to choose an option that best fits the space in the passage. So for 9, you have your options. For 10, you have your options. For 11, you have your options, and so forth. Um, Remember all those classes you'd have where your teacher would say, today we're going to learn words associated with technology, or words associated with sports, or words associated with education, words associated with agriculture, words associated with finance, banking, communication, electricity, medicine, business, and so forth. It used to be a fun class for me because I got to learn new words, but I never really understood why I was learning it. When you learn a little of everything, you are well rounded and able to communicate better no matter what the topic is. Registers in your junior WAEC will test you on your knowledge uh, of of on your vocabulary, how many words you know, what is the range of your vocabulary, how well can you communicate. That is what this part tests you on. So all those classes you had with your English teacher did not go to waste. To make sure that you are ready for this part, you may want to return to your JSS3 English textbook and go through all the registers and all the chapters. This will equip you to answer the questions correctly. Do not take any of them for granted. Don't say, "Oh, I know about sports, so I know about the different kind of sports, the rules and the regulations, etc." Everything is important because you never know where the question is going to come from. So go back to your textbooks. Now I'm giving you an assignment already. Every chapter has a topic with a register. Go through them and study the words. Don't just study them to fulfill all righteousness. Study them to know. Quiz yourself on it. And when you return, when you're ready to write your exam, I'm very certain that you pass this aspect of registers with flying colors. So today I'm going to leave you with one assignment. Study the registers in every chapter of your book, of your secondary school, of your of your JSS3 textbook, English textbook. Study every register under it. I'm very, very certain and very confident that one of them will be facing you in the exam so that you can surmount. The second assignment I'm going to give you today is to revise your lesson on the figures of speech or the literary devices of English. Study the euphemisms, personification, oxymoron, metaphor, simile, synecdoche, all of those. Ensure you have a note on those, or if you do not have that, you can always get the information online. It's important that you do this because apart from it being a regular question in the comprehension passage, it is also a regular question in the literary aspect of the literature part of your exam, not the literary now. The literature part of your exam, so you want to be very ready for that. Now we have two assignments, registers and figures of speech. In our next class, we're going to do the correction for the registers. We're going to answer question 9 to 20, and we're going to move on to lexis and structure. This is some people's favorite part. In the meantime, take care of yourself, keep reading, don't give up, practice as much as you can. Every time is important. Don't waste your time watching TV alone and playing. You can study really hard so that you pass your exams with flying colors. I'm going to see you in the next class. Have fun. Bye. Thank you for listening.
I hope the class was interesting. If you have questions, please drop them in the comment section or send us an email. We will love to help you further. See you in the next class.